This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by NewHampshireFreePress.com, the libertarian paper cranking out great news and opinion since early 2006. The home of tax protesters Ed and Elaine Brown. Seen here in better times. These video clips were shot during the non-standoff standoff with federal marshals.
My wife and I are mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah!
It occurred during the first half of 2007. Now the Browns are in jail and likely to die in concrete boxes. This after their second trial, which ended in July '09. I was able to attend one day of the trial, and I have now this final report from day 2 of the second Ed and Elaine Brown trial. I've recounted pretty much every interesting thing I remember officials saying at the trial. And Ed and Elaine themselves did not speak audibly while I was there. That leaves only one other person's story to tell, and that's the story of pro-Fed blogger J.J. McNabb. J.J. is writing a book about tax deniers, and we had a couple of brief conversations. And I recorded some of my thoughts about that directly into the camera while I was there that day. There's another face or a face I chose not to show today, actually more than one, but one specifically important face in my mind as J.J. McNabb, another journalist kind of on the other side of the issue. She had come out of the court, and I was standing there with my camera. I could have taken her picture, but, because of the fact she's got death threats, for now I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to not take her picture. Maybe at some point in the future I might. It's kind of a gray area morally, I think, when you get a situation like that going on. But hopefully that sort of thing goes away and never results in anything concrete, because I don't appreciate it when people who claim to be pro-liberty threaten others. Now, a little background is in order regarding the allegation of death threats. While I was in there, I asked J.J. McNabb if she would like to do an interview with me, if I could interview her for the Ridley Report, and she said no, because she was getting death threats. I asked if there was anything I could do that would help with that issue, and she said she couldn't think of anything, but she appreciated me asking. I said that her appearing on camera on the Ridley Report would give her, would make her appear more human to her opponents, and she said, basically, human is bad for some of these people in this tax denier movement. She asked me about Rob Jacobs, a Brown supporter. She asked me if I had seen him or spoken to him recently. I didn't answer that question, but I told her that Jacobs had been ostracized, since he's been banned from most of the liberty-oriented forums in New Hampshire. I don't know if he's been ostracized beyond that. She asked me about Tim Logsdon, a longtime New Hampshire resident who is also a Brown supporter. She said sometimes when a movement is young, it is too accepting of people that it shouldn't really have in the movement, or maybe too excited about publicity. She continued raising concerns about individual Brown supporters, and I responded by raising concerns about the institution which was prosecuting them. I asked her how she feels about an institution that tortures people. She said the government also does good things, like roads. I responded that Hitler built the Autobahn using slave labor. The fact that you build a road doesn't make you good. I said whatever the failings of the Browns and or their supporters, I was never forced to pay for their activities. I am forced to pay for the activities of the federal government, which bombs people with that money. I would describe the conversation as tense, but not chilly. Around 2 or 3 p.m., the trial came to an end for the day, and we all spilled outside. I speak with a court sketch artist and ask if I could take a picture of the sketches from inside the courtroom. She says based on her contract, she can't let me photograph them, but she says she'd be happy to make a sketch of me, so this is what I ended up with. Only took her about 3 minutes. Now here's the rest of the video that I shot from in front of the federal building after leaving the trial. I want to bring everybody up to date a little bit on stuff that's happened since the trial ended. I just got out. It's about 3 o'clock, and at 2:30 I got out of the Ed and Elaine Brown trial. and have come down here to the front of the federal building. I don't know for certain whether they're going to bring Ed and Elaine out the front. For some reason they have two, let me show you, Stratford County vehicles here. The mainstream press is not showing much interest in those or in the possibility that Ed and Elaine might come out here, but I'll stay here keeping an eye out for a bit anyway. One federal employee walked past me, and I didn't even notice him, but when he got past me, he said, "Hey, you weren't videotaping, were you?" And I said, "Are you an employee of the United States federal government?" And he said, "Yes," and I didn't say anything. And then he started asking me more questions, telling me it's against the law to photograph people in New Hampshire. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn my camera on now, and if you want to continue being, or you want to be videotaped, then stay right where you are. And he left. He said, "I don't want to see that on the internet." And of course, that's a threat that has violence behind it. Channel 9 working a stand-up here, and they're reporting that Ed actually shouted during the early part of the events today in court. Marshals and cops have been sort of out in force, although there's not very many left now. Alright, so now the van, I think, that will be carrying Elaine or Ed Brown, or both, is headed probably to the pickup point, which is in an area I'm not going to be able to get to, more than likely. Now it looks like another law enforcement vehicle is following that unit, so maybe they're working up some kind of a caravan. But why have two Stratford units if they're not going to take Ed and Elaine in separate vehicles? Maybe they are. Alright, so second van is going around to what I'll call the secret place. I've seen folks put on vans, well, I've seen vans come out of there, but I don't see exactly where they go. This is probably where the van will exit that has Ed and Elaine Brown in it. Or vans, I should say. So they'd probably be loaded up on the other side of that door down there, where I won't be able to see them. But some things you try to do just for the sake of trying, not because you really can. And they say Ed and Elaine Brown lived in a compound. I am audio and video recording right now.
Bad weather to do that.
I see we have more than one thing going on now.
I know, you got
So are you trying to block me from getting pictures?
I'm saying it's kind of cloudy here.
This is the van carrying the Browns, apparently. It had Stratford on it. Trying to see if they're inside. I am on the sidewalk. Are you guys in there? Can you hear me? It's like a convoy of some kind. I guess that must be, I don't know who that is, I don't know. Alright, so that was their way of kind of handling the situation to keep me from getting too much video, not that I would have gotten much anyway. Kind of glad they came out, it was more interesting that way. So there goes the convoy, if you want to call it that, of law enforcement and other vehicles. I generally don't go out of my way to photograph marshals' faces, some of those might have been marshals. But I had photographed the convoy. I would have rather photographed Ed and Elaine Brown being taken wherever they're taken, or being allowed to take a camera into the courtroom, but this is what I've got to work with.